things unfold is a little bit of aggression from both sides for the most part leading into that first turtle, right? And that's usually where the teams have to manage that level 4. You know, getting those ultimates available as we jump in here for this game. Again, game number 1 between Indonesia and Mongolia in this best of 3, deciding on the tournament lives here for IESF.
Okay, let's take a look on the on the emblems of Super Ken and Salkin. We're seeing more of the stable picks for these heroes to survive early game. We have Electro Flashes, we have 2 Impure Rage for Cerezo as well and for Moreno. Capitalizing on those spokes. We've seen the Impure Rage hybrid build yesterday. For damage heroes, for assassin heroes, you have that adaptive damage that you can actually utilize. But knowing that the X-Org doesn't have any mana, you get extra attributes for that.
Yeah, and I think, you know, again, look at this, like, this is what you need to do, especially if you lock in the Grok here. Vin has to get the information he needs. I like, too, that we've seen this kind of variations between Grok players alone. And do they take that focusing mark emblem? Do they take the tank emblem, you know, and play around with that? Because really, so far, I love it when these roams take the focusing mark. I love to see it. Usually you see it on the Francos, though, you know, a lot of the time.
Since yesterday, yes.
But occasionally, yeah, you will see it on the Grok here. So, you know, nothing too crazy or out of the ordinary early on. You're just going to kind of wait that 30 seconds for that first turtle. If they can get some of these battle spells out early on, that would be great. You see them, they're going to go ahead and focus and Vin a little bit, trying to get that flicker out if they can defensively here, but will be just fine.
Yeah, still safe, still on level 2. We were mentioning about the concussive blast versus the focusing mark. Probably now he's capitalizing on HP-based AoE damage that can actually be utilized in the skill set of a Grok. Knowing that you're on for a vision, you're on for pokes, you might want to survive the first wave of like pokes and exchange damages early on, especially from minute 2. No wonder he just keeps on going on to the river, checking on the jungle. But now, first sort of stuff for the game, we have Cesarin as Super Ken. No members yet following up for reinforcement, but maintaining the border here, we have Indonesia and Mongolia present.
Okay, less than half health here. Both junglers going to come down to it. Last Insanity already going to use. Super Ken securing it, but look at the damage there with that Last Insanity. Massive damage. 2 will fall here for Mongolia. They also lose the turtle. Good pick up there for Indonesia.
Great start for this export pick by Cerezo. Indonesia making use of that early game damage with his own emblem as well. So Impure Rage benefiting more of the damage as well as an HP regen. You have more ways to survive your Ferrata armor and go into fights like this. You have more contention just like that.
I mean, look how much pressure they're just putting here on ZXora right on his orange buff. They might not even allow him to get it, or they want to force that retribution as they do.
Wow.
Aizen going to take a little bit of damage. There's a Last Insanity. Once again, able to find multiple members.
Woo!
Can they follow up through it? Ken still there, but another member is going to fall for Indonesia. The response, it's a triple kill for ZXora. He was mad about them putting the pressure on the orange buff.
Okay, we have more ways to counter that. Zora takes an avenue, looks up on the window to how will they counter Indonesia. The Asher Aura, you have more ways of decimating more into the damage of Indonesia, but going back on that replay, we've seen the Last Insanity being used over and over again. Once it's activated, it's one thing of having the burst right onto him. Look at that, burst right onto Aizen, onto Ethan as well. But one thing they had in for a turn was Forbid, was using the RWM to get a counter go, and as well as go in for the slow, this time around for the early game of an Eve, which is stronger with the poke potential.
That's huge for, you know, anytime you have this Martis here. He's also got that killing spree. It's always a threat, right? The way the Decimate works here. And now that he's got that triple kill under his belt, he's going to be the one confidently getting into Indonesia's jungle, right? And this will all lead into, again, that next turtle where you're going to see them both kind of set up here. Now, that was a great kind of interaction between what Indonesia wanted to do. They wanted to press that pressure, but still, you know, Mongolia turns out finding a win, looking at the items here.
Yeah, despite the lead here, we're seeing at Brody, we're seeing Bebex picking up the Blade of Heptases now, just having the first item he needs for damage. But now turtle this up, we have Mongolia on site, we have Super Ken and Vin now looking up for a space to even take this turtle now.
Sokken's not even going to be there, right? So this is a full force for the most part. Bebex is going to go ahead and clear that mid lane. A 4 versus 4. They're going to clash out for it. The flicker comes through with the wild charge. Can they get the turtle? It is going to be secured once again by ZXora. Now Super Ken on the run. Bebex makes it to the party. Chorizo trying to get out of here. Torn apart. Memory, though, will find the mark. He does fall. Turtle secured as well for Mongolia.
Despite the trade of 1-1, we're now seeing the threat of the Valentina having the ultimate of an Eve paired with the ultimate of Cerezo now having 2 kills on a row. So at this point, it's all in an all-out situation that they actually initiate team fights such as this. Going back on the replay, they catch Aizen, they taunted them, they used the ultimates right into the turtle, but this time around, more of the damage dealers of Mongolia was there to respond. Bebix was just on the other hand using the free hit, releasing the turtle family right on time, just about the minute or second that Indonesia flickered out for safety.
I love that too. When you saw the replay, Finn literally just chilling there, waiting for that wild charge. Now in the mid lane, once again, Moreno gonna have to flicker out. Can they follow up on the kill here? ZXORA might be hungry for this, not gonna chance it though. They don't want to go under this turret just yet. Again, economy-wise, it's pretty much even still.
Completely even.
Making work on both these sides of the map for both teams. Look at this, the play on top. Zakin could be in trouble. They're going to go in. Ethan popping out this blazing duet from Zakin. A couple of hits away.
Whoa.
Still under the turret, though. Will finally go down. And another kill comes through here. Able to find the trade. It's a 1-for-1. Does Indonesia have a response? They're going to chase Mongolia back a little bit. But ultimately, it's just down to that.
Zoro went in too deep. Bebix and also for a bit was too far to actually respond with an ultimate because it was down at the moment, as well as for Bebix. No response for damage, no response for burst. But that time, they just wanted to just have a safe place back, because if they committed to those kinds of defense, they might actually go down as well. So having a restricted path of not even committing to those kind of small mistakes can actually give Mongolia a chance to get back and get those items right in. So not being even or being ahead from the goal of Indonesia, they just want to be in part of the objectives that they're doing right now as they took the first turret up top.
Yeah, for the most part, right? Dead even is where they want to keep it. Now, once again, fighting for the third turtle here. Finn taking quite a bit of damage. There's a setup. Blazing Duet's going to be the follow. Ethan's in trouble. Trapped. Has to flicker out. Turtle will be secured by Indonesia, but here comes ZXORA. It's a decimate again, and they're unleashing here, trying to run away. Can't get out of there. It's a turtle, but at what cost here for Indonesia?
What a counter go. They waited for the Blazing Duet to burn out. Just at that moment, Forbid has the opportunity to lay down that chessboard and to poke everybody out. From the moment that the burst was just strolling through a quadrant, that was the opening of Aizen and even Zoro just keep on biting and feed Bebix the kill that he needs. Now standing on this level 9, building through the damage that he needs. This Brody now has the Malefic Roar, paired with the Blade of Heptases. Now, by just going around him now, not being touched at all, that's dangerous. That's just damage department rising up to the defense of Indonesia.
Yeah, and again, it's tough, right? Because right now, Sakin, all he has, I believe, is a DHS. He only has that Demon Hunter sword. Not there yet, just where he needs to be on the quad, right? You need some time for the gold to go in your favor. One thing that you know, until just recently, the past couple minutes here, they were keeping it close together. That's great, but at this point, they've got to have a response, you know, and I was saying this earlier. Ethan gonna jump in again. Nice rage there, finding 3 into the RWM. There's the wild charge. Can they have a counterplay? Super Ken's in trouble. Aizen able to pick up the kill. 2 down for Indonesia. ZXORA sees blood here, but will back off. 3 members on the run. Mongolia coming through. It is only Ethan that fell there.
Ethan with a great catch from that bush, completing another set of Tyrant's Rage and Tyrant's Revenge. Having an advantage in gold, now the items now slowly building up. Defense items present, we have the Dominance Ice as well as the Athena Shield for the protection of the Edith against Moreno. Now he's on level 10 with the pokes. She might as well wants to secure that way of like not being burst down quickly. For the side of Eve now, he has the glowing one as well as the Ice Queen one. That's slow. That Scorch Power burning once it hits. Having the Impure Rage right now amplifies more of the damages now that the Eve that can do for the side of Mongolia or Indonesia.
Yeah, this is tough, right? Once again, lead now, 3,000 from Mongolia. His first Lord of the game is up. Ethan gonna just go ahead and poke down a little bit. They get win onward. Chorizo's a little bit in trouble. He does have no mortality, though. Not to mention, he's still got the last Insanity, but I'm not sure. Do they actually want to contest this? Superkin trying to get in position here.
Frog armor's down, though.
Yep, Superkin there. A little bit of low on the Lord. Still going to come down to the Retribution. Ethan will jump in. He goes in with a flicker. Secured by ZXORA. The fight's going to break out. Zorizo on the run. Finn goes and falls. Zorizo still alive. Has to back off here. Mongolia just playing the smart game. Super Ken was trying to be there for that retribution battle, not able to get it though.
That was a good stun onto two members of Indonesia. Look at this. Ethan just jumped, catches two. Chorizo and Super Ken. How do you manage to press that precision? Having that decisiveness to even steal that objective. A great way of diverting the attention of Indonesia. Who do you take? The marksman or even the mage hero of Mongolia? But just at that point, Ethan knows what to target here. For most of the team fights, getting the quadrant for Bid's way of using the RTM properly, it's a team fighting danger for Indonesia once it has been placed in.
Forbid has been on point, right? A lot of these real-world manipulations are just playing a huge role in a lot of these fights, and you know, whether that's on Forbid or Ethan starts things up and followed by Aizen, it's just all on point. And this is what I was talking about, OSX, before we even got to the draft. I said Mongolia, they garnered a lot of this attention, a lot of these fans, because when people started watching them compete around the world and even back in Riyadh and in their own qualifiers, they were like, wow, look at this team. Look what the type of synergy that they have is some of the best in the world, and you're seeing it happen right here in this game number one. They've garnered themselves a great lead here. Now Indonesia, what do they have to do? What do they have to do to bring themselves back into this game?
Right now, Brody has an additional item picked up earlier. He has the Demon Hunter Sword, bred with the Blade of Half the Seas, as well as the Malefic Roar. Right now, this is just piercing power through the sustain and the tankiness of a Fredrin and as well as Finn. So that's one that they need to be careful. They have the damage department now that we're talking about back in the draft, that the damage should come from Bebix alone, even at this state of the game. 12 minutes, they have the tools right now. If you're seeing how will they get back in this game, probably get more items for Socken. Even having two deaths, being a Claude, it's not too far gone yet for Indonesia. What they need to do now is get more time here for their marksman and as well as Chorizo, because damage potential down in the late game could actually show if they keep on continuing breaking the base slowly for Mongolia. Because if they keep on coming in those team fights, man, it could get messy. Things could go wrong if they want to pull out something really good in the late game.
The way I see it is like, if you're Indonesia, number one, how do you get to Bebex, right? For the most part, he's popping off here. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of teams opt for Brody. You can kind of just get those marks off, and then, you know, you really don't have to be too close comparison to other marksmen, and then you just torn apart memory. For the most part, you try to profit off that, right? And it makes it even harder when you're working against, again, real-world manipulation, trying to get through there. So you're not only trying to avoid getting set up from Ethan, the power of the Kufra is the fact that he can just go ahead and charge up and slingshot in basically like this from different angles. You have to be able to respond from that and avoid it, right? And then figure out how to get to Forbid, figure out how to get to Bebex. As this Lord now, half health here, you can see them trying to zone them out. Super Ken's got to get in position here with ZX Aura. They might reset this. They might try to actually initiate this. Mongolia is waiting here patiently. Ethan gonna jump in, finds the mark he's looking for. Sokken's gonna unleash though. They actually get rid of him quickly. Moreno will fall and they're still going. Sokken's gonna fall as well. They're losing a ton of damage here.
Bebix.
They have to get out. Ethan gonna flicker in right on Super Ken. Can't get away. 3 down for Indonesia.
There's damage all over. Ethan getting the right points, the right set, and the right person to knock off Moreno was the first one to fall down. He has the ultimate of the Eve now in the base. Mongolia, here they go, knocking slowly.
They gotta clear the minions here, a couple hits away. Crystal's gonna be worked on, but with that last Insanity, Chorizo buys a little bit more time for Indonesia. This could be the call. Mongolia decides to make their way to the Lord. They're quite low though. They might have to be careful about this. All the members of Indonesia will be up, but can they stop this in time? It looks like they might just call to defend. Lord's going to be taken care of very quickly.
Last turret on the mid just fall down, opening up the base for a siege march by the Lord a few seconds from now. If you're talking about how will they get a comeback here, let's check onto the defense of Fredrin right now, or specifically for Super Ken. And Tigras' present was the Immortality was Molten Essence. Enough for them or for him to be onto the front line, but for the side of, or even for Grok, has the Radiant Armor and the Tigras. just the right amount of deflect and absorb from the damages that they can get from Bebex or even from Zora. So one that they can capitalize is just by having the right set or being in the front line, they need to force something out of Mongolia right now. But can they do it?
They got to deal with the Lord first. It's going to be about half health. Crystal also at half health here for the base. They got to clear these waves, manage them, keep them at bay here for now. That's what you see him. Sakin also waiting for his moment with Blazing Duet. Lord will finally go down. Ethan going to jump in, find Cerezo, but can't commit just yet. What they're happy for is these base turrets all going down. Could be up to this. Once again, Ethan gonna charge up here with the revenge, goes in, finds Cerezo with the Blazing Duet from Sakin. They don't have enough damage to respond yet. Aizen just unleashing here with the Primal Wrath. Crystal worked on, and Mongolia will take game number 1 against Indonesia.
Almost 16 minutes. Having the capital of damage and as well as defense and setup. Ethan and the Brody completely having a great amount of targets right onto Indonesia. At some point we felt there is still a chance for them for having a comeback. But one thing that was kind of been missing, or it could have something happened, was you need to have that extra defense on that moment. But from that end on, but when it started to fall down, and specifically onto the defense, that's where like things were getting onto the pressure of Indonesia to even